Okay, hello everyone. This is game 2 of a tournament I went to this past weekend, and my second matchup, I won my first one against the Wood Elf High Elf list. So my second matchup is against some Ogres. And let me tell you, I was talking with this guy before the tournament started, checking out his army, and Ogres are some tough nuts to crack. So I was not really looking forward to playing this guy. I mean, not because I thought he was a jerk or anything, but just Ogres and Bretonnians, at least intuitively for me, they didn't seem like it was a very good matchup for my army. I've never actually played them, so I don't know. But anyway, let's get started here. So here's our deployment. The special rule for this scenario was night fighting. So at the end, or at the start of game turn 3, you rolled a d6. If you rolled an 8 or higher, or you roll a d6 and add the turn number, and if you roll an 8 or higher, it's night fighting, which is kind of like the old night fighting rule in 40k. And you would roll 4d6 at the start of your turn, and every unit could only see that far for the purposes of spells, charging, etc., etc. It didn't really come into play too much, but anyway, that's the special rule for this scenario. You got points for every unit you fully killed of your enemies, and I believe you also got points for having units in your opponent's deployment zone. I don't remember. I'll have to check on that. I'll post something in the annotations if it's different. But anyway, let's get started here. So this is my deployment. This is the very center of the board. As you can see, my trebuchet is in the back there. I have my men-at-arm horde in front of them with the level 1 damsel with the prayer icon of Canels. She is using Lore of Beasts. Next to them are 10 archers with flaming shots. To the right of them is my Knight of the Realm unit with my BSB with +1 strength sword and 2 upper rollable armor save, my Lord with heroic killing blow and the Heartwood lance which lets him reroll wounds, and a paladin with the -1 armor save sword and a 1 up rerollable armor save, as well as my level 4 wizard with heavens. So that's just a big character pain train. To the left of the men-at-arms is my Knights Errant, 12 of them with the errantry banner. Then there's another unit of bowmen, and next to them the kind of a black and gray blob, that's my mounted yeoman that I'm proxying. On his deployment on the far right, he has 4 Mournfang cavalry, as well as a saber tusk. Next to them he has a big old horde of ogres, or ogre bulls. I think they're just called ogres now. I'm going to call them bulls just to separate them from the rest. He also has a level 4 wizard with death in there, and his BSB. Next to them is a unit of Iron Guts, so I'll get to this picture here. There's 8 of them in there with a level 2 with gut magic. I'm not sure if that's how you can do it. I know one wizard has to take the gut magic, but I don't know which one it has to be, but I wasn't going to be a stickler about it. Then he has 2 units of Lead Belchers and another Saber Tusk behind the forest there, and a unit of Man-Eaters that are scouting in. So this is after Vanguard moves. I go ahead and move my mounted yeoman up, as you can see. I didn't really know what to do with them. I think I misdeployed them. I should have put them closer to the big horde unit so I could redirect them easier. I moved my Pegasus Knights up, as you can see. Again, he doesn't have any war machines. There was surprisingly few war machines at this tournament, so they're kind of at a loss of what to do because I don't want to charge anything he has with Pegasus Knights because, I might win on the charge, but afterwards they're not going to do a whole lot. But again, Pegasus Knights, people perceive them as a really big threat. Because, they are. They're flying, and they've got strength 4 and all that good stuff. But, they're not that big of a threat if you really think about it, because they don't have ranks or anything. But anyway, I'm going to throw them up on the flank, see if they can maybe help out later. So he got the first turn because I prayed, and he goes ahead and he scouted in his Man-Eaters. They were on the edge of the board here, so that they didn't scout in that close. They were farther away. And on his first turn, he moves up, as you can see there. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention on my deployment, my Grail Knights are on the right side of my Knights of the Realm here on my right flank. So I'm hoping they can do better than they did last game. You can see where he moved his Saber Tusk up, and then he cautiously moved the rest of his army up, which, in my opinion, I think was a mistake, especially against Bretonnians. You need to get down there, you need to put the pressure on quickly, or else, they'll be able to decide the match just through their maneuverability. And also with Ogres, you want to get into close combat as soon as possible. So he goes ahead and shoots at my mounted yeoman. I think he only killed 1, which was surprising, because, lead vessels, you'd think they would just really take care of them quickly. He does something against my Knights Errant. I don't remember if it was death magic or shooting. He kills 2 of them, what are you going to do? Alright, so we go to Bretonnia turn 1. No charges on my turn, so I just go ahead and move up. As you can see, my men-at-arms march forward their full movement. They're no match for that ogre horde, but I don't know what else I'm going to do with them, so I'll move them up to the center. I march up my knights errant just a little bit, not too much, but just enough to be a threat. My mounted yeomen, they couldn't. The 16-inch move would not have been enough to get in the way of the big horde. Again, I think I might have misdeployed them, so I just moved them up, just be a little speed bump and distractor. I whip around my Pegasus Knights to the rear of his lines. I love doing that with Pegasus Knights because people always overreact to them. Like, you'll see here in a little bit, but I wasn't going to charge anything with them. They're just there to be a bother. I mean, they're a strong bother, but they're not, they're not going to take out your units or anything. On the right side here, Mournfang, I'm really afraid. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have been so afraid of them, but I was really worried about being charged by the Mournfang. In hindsight, I probably should have just moved up my character unit, because, my characters could easily take care of those Mournfangs, I think. But, hindsight's 2020. I move my Grail Knights up as well, just in case he does charge with the Mournfang. I'll get a good counter charge. And the Man-Eaters there, I figured they were just better to ignore. Same principle as with my Pegasus Knights. I'm sure they're just a big distractor unit that he probably was trying to play mind games and get people to really pay attention to them when they probably didn't warrant that much attention. So I'm leaving them alone for now. And I think there's just another picture here. I'm not sure what was going on. Probably some magic shenanigans or something else. Or I might have done some shooting. Okay, so start of his turn. He goes ahead and charges his Man-Eaters into my Knights of the Realm, which I think was probably the best course of action he could have done. However, since I have my 3 characters in here, they all made way, and I think, I'm not too concerned. My only concern about this, I'm not worried about losing. It's just now he's tied up my Knights of the Realm, which is my big hammer unit, and that means that they won't be participating anywhere else in the battle for at least a turn or two. And supposedly those Man-Eaters are stubborn. I don't know if they were stubborn. They couldn't have been steadfast. They must have been stubborn just on their own. And I don't know if the forest affects that. I doubt it does, but if it does, that would have been nice. So here's what I mean about people overreacting to Pegasus Knights. He completely reforms both Leadbelcher units, which I was so happy to see, because that's just more guys who aren't shooting at my knights or my peasants. Yeah, it's going to suck, because he's shooting at my Pegasus Knights, but he moved and they're skirmishers, so he's at -2 to hit them with his shooting. And, I think I can handle at least one round of shooting, and that, like I said, my plan worked perfectly, because they're just distracting him. He couldn't charge with his Iron Guts because his own units were in the way, and he just moved up with his big horde. So this picture, this is actually at the start of my next turn after charges. So I apologize for skipping a little bit there, but you know how it is in a tournament. You forget to take pictures occasionally. So what happened here? This is after you can see the results of his shooting on my Pegasus Knights. I have my champion with 1 wound left. And the reason his 2 Leadbelcher units are fleeing is because I charged them with my Knights Errant. I charged 1 unit and he fled, and I successfully redirected into the 2nd unit and it also fled. So I was pretty happy to see that. That means 1 round of not shooting. I think he could have held and been fine, because it was a long charge. But, we'll see how it goes. Sorry about the blurry picture here, but I go ahead and move my knights, or my mounted yeomen, to do the cool trick that I learned from Mobius Primal, where if you move your fast cavalry up like this on the edge of them, it's actually, if they try and charge you, it's a front charge. So that means they have to wheel all the way around to face you. Now that I look at this, my Pegasus Knight's right behind that big ogre horde. I probably could have used him to chase off one of the Leadbelcher units. Yeah, I guess I just didn't see that at the time. So I just go ahead and maneuver him around. Again, not planning on charging anything with him, but, he might be able to do something. Sorry about that other blurry picture. I think this was a drive-by picture. This picture is just trying to show where my Knights Errant ended up after the 2 failed charges. And my men-at-arms, they did a they did a swift reform to give ranks. The reason I did that is because I was concerned if the big ogre horde in the middle was somehow able to, overrun or do, some kind of weird thing and charge my men-at-arms. I wanted to have ranks so I could be steadfast if that was to happen. On the right side over here, yeah, my characters are made pretty quick work of the Man-Eaters. Unfortunately, he has 1 guy with 2 or 3 wounds left on him. So again, he's just holding up my Knight of the Realm unit, so they're just stuck there doing absolutely nothing. He did 1 wound on my Lord as well, which that kind of sucks. Alright, so this is his turn 2 or 3? I think it's turn 3. He takes the bait and he charges into my Mounted Yeoman, which I'm totally fine with sacrificing that unit if it means getting his Ogres out of position. I think that was his only charge here. Yeah, so he goes ahead and rallies both the Lead Belcher units. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't his only charge. So he also went ahead and charged his Mournfang into my Grail Knights. I thought I had enough distance. Apparently I didn't. Again, I don't know if I'm just misplaying them. But, yeah, that's not looking good for me because Mournfang Cavalry are pretty intense. So this is after the combat in the middle. Yeah, he quickly and easily makes short work of my Mounted Yeoman. He overruns, which I think was a big mistake on his part. I think he was trying to overrun into my Knights Errant, but they didn't quite make it, and that leaves them open to my Men-at-Arms charging. I think my Knights Errant were out of their charge arc. If they weren't, then that was a huge mistake of me not charging them. But anyway, he's in a really bad position now. And this is after just the impact hits. This isn't even combat yet. This is just the impact hits of the Mournfang Cavalry. And oh my god, they killed... let's see, got 4 there now. So they killed 5 Grail Knights. That's a lot of points. And man, I was just, ugh. It was painful. And then this is after the actual combat. Yeah, he overruns the Grail Knights like the champs they are. Which, I don't like sacrificing a Grail Knight unit, but it does mean the Mournfang Cavalry are out of the game for the most part now, because I think this is his turn. This is turn 3 or 4, so they're pretty much out of there for now. And this picture is after the combat with my Knight of the Realm unit. My characters finally kill those stupid man-eaters, and I reform about my center to face the rear of those Ogres, and since it's my turn coming up here, that means I'll get a nice juicy rear charge into them, which I am more than happy to do. And that's what happens. So I charge my Grail Knights in, or excuse me, my Knights of the Realm into the back of his Ogres. I'm really happy to see that, because that minimizes the amount of attacks he gets to do to me. And I also charged in my Men-at-Arms into the flank. I probably should have kept them in horde formation earlier, because that would have meant more attacks. But what this does mean is that he can no longer do a reform to face either of my units, because I got him in that cool pincer thing. And that's what the rule's saying now, is that you can't do that. My Knights Errant charged into the Saber Tusk. Like I mentioned before, I don't know if they were within the arc of charging the Ogres. If they were, that would have been a smarter move. But, hindsight and all that. So they're just going to take out the Saber Tusk. Yeah, so this is, I think, the magic buffs and debuffs. I got Harmonic Convergence, which is probably my favorite spell ever. That means I get to reroll once to hit, wound, and armor save. And since my armor save is a 2-up, I wound usually on a 2-up, and I hit on a 3-up. That means I get to reroll a lot. And I think I got the -1, I either got the -1 to hit debuff on him, or the reroll 6s to hit wound and armor save on him. So yeah, that's why I love Lore of Heavens, because it's just the little buffs here, little debuffs there, little things that you do add up in the long run, especially in big combats like this with a lot of units. So this is after combat. Yeah, I did quite a number of wounds. We won combat, but of course one of his characters had the Stubborn Crown, which actually my Prophetess has as well, but never really comes into play. So he sticks around, but I'm more than happy to do that. My Heroic Killing Blow General, he'll be doing his thing, and I'll be winning every time. So this is after combat. My Knights Errant reform to face the front of the Ogres to charge next turn, just to give myself an extra punch. Yeah, I did a bunch of wounds on the Ogres. Both of his Lead Belchers rallied, unfortunately, and his Iron Guts are just getting prepared. I totally forgot to move my Pegasus Knights, or my Pegasus Knight in the back with 1 wound, which was a little bit of an oversight, but what are you going to do? Start of his turn, I think this is after charges. So he moves his Mournfang up, or he swift reforms them to get a charge on my Trebuchet, which, go ahead and do it. It's done its job. I believe this is turn 5. Or it could be turn 4. So the trebuchet has been shooting this entire time. It's done its job. The bowmen are sitting ducks, but whatever, peasants. So he charges his iron guts. They finally get into the fight here. He charges them into the flank of my knights, and I saw it coming, but that rear charge is just too tempting to take. I'm a little worried because this means that I cannot make way with my characters because they're already in base contact with an enemy. But with my buffs and debuffs on there, I'm figuring that with my rerolling ones for my armor saves and all that good stuff, I think I can survive, and I don't need my knights to really survive. They're more just there for wounds. I mean, this unit's pretty much just is a character delivery system. So if I lose a few knights, it's not the end of the world. And I have the Stubborn Crown in there as well. Now this was the game breaking shenanigan right here. What happened is he tried to cast the Purple Sun through my Knights Errant there, as you can see in the bottom of the screen. And first of all, he miscast, which he rolled the one where it just does a strength 10 hit on everyone in base contact, which was not a big deal. But then when he rolled the scatter, he misfired, and he put it right on top of his wizard. And ogres are initiative 2, so to pass an initiative test, they need a 3, 4, 5, or 6. Excuse me, they need a 1 or a 2 to pass. Anything else, they fail, and they instantly die. So his wizard passed, but then his BSB, the guy who was right next to it, failed. So that's why I see that empty space there. So that means he no longer has a reroll for his stubborn. And even things that are stubborn 8, they fail, a good amount of the time. So I was more than happy to see that. I mean, it sucks because that's an awful turn of luck. But, that's what happens when you try and do a big spell like that and try and get it off. So this is... so this was during combat here. Just an overview of everything that was happening. I think this was right after combat. So I killed a good number of ogres again. Not as many as I did last turn because I didn't get to charge this turn. And you can see, it doesn't look like he killed... Or excuse me, this was after I went and before he went. Because he has lower initiative than I did. So I did all my wounds on the big ogre horde. So they're getting whittled down. And, so that's that. And this is after the combat in general. So, as you can see, my Knights of the Realm took a pretty big beating from the Iron Guts. It wasn't, but that's what it is. However, the big thing, and this is what won me the game right here, because his BSB was dead, he did not get his reroll for his leadership test at the break. And I think he lost combat, but he was still stubborn, but he rolled an 11. So he failed his leadership test. He broke. I couldn't pursue with the Knights of the Realm, but I could with the Men-at-Arms, and my Men-at-Arms caught him. They chased those ogres down. I mean, these dudes must have been hustling. So I was, that was the game pretty much right there. It was such a turn of luck on my part to be able to do that, and such bad luck on his to lose his BSB like that. But, that's how it was. My Knights are stuck there. I forgot to do a combat reform, so they're still on the flank. And it's my turn now, so I go ahead and charge my Knights Errant into the flank of the Iron Guts, and do a whole heap of... And all my characters make way again, because they can now. My Men-at-Arms, they just turn to face the other direction, in case the Mournfang starts showing up. Lead Belchers don't have anything to shoot at. Yes, this is just a picture of the Lead Belchers moving around. The Mournfangs... this is pretty funny. I tried to shoot my trebuchet, and it misfired, and it broke itself. So I'm just imagining these Mournfang cavalry all geared up to take out this war machine, and they're just all, just disappointed because it blew itself up. So here's an overview of the board. I believe this is... If it's not after combat, it's before. Oh no, sorry, this was after combat. This was turn 6. So this was the end of the game here. I wasn't able to get rid of his ogres. I think he cast the stubborn spell on them before with his gut magic guy. But that was the end of the game. If it wasn't turn 6, then he just conceded because we had like 2 minutes left in this round of the tournament. But I gotta say, this was probably the funnest game of Warhammer I think I've ever played, because it was so back and forth. Like when his Mournfangs broke through my Grail Knights, I thought it was over. If he would have just reformed with them instead and charged my knights in the flank, oh god, I would have been done. That would have been game. A lot of bad luck on his part. I can't take the credit for winning this victory all on my own. I mean, getting that miscast, that's just awful. Like, I kind of feel bad for. I mean, I feel bad, but then I don't, because that's what made me win, or that's what made me win. He also overran with his ogre horde when he probably shouldn't have, because that left him exposed to all my awesome knightliness. But again, here was another victory for for Bretonnia. Full victory, so I got full points for that, and I killed 4 units, I believe. The 2 saber tusks, the ogre horde, and actually, now that I think about it, the wizard and the BSB should have counted as well. But whatever. So another victory to Bretonnia. So my second game in my very first fantasy tournament, I've won. Pretty happy about that. But again, that means that the next person I play has also won their last 2 games. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thanks for watching.